Welcome to episode 1 of a new series. This is a series all about the towns and cities that the railways forgot. We're kicking off this series in the town closest to me, Bolsover, the Derbyshire town of Bolsover. These are the guys who take my council tax. It's a town with lots of history. So what's Bolsover well known for? Coal mining, huge in this area. It's hard not to go too far without tripping over remains of some colliery. It's a market town, best known probably for Bolsover Castle. You can't come to Bolsover without giving a mention to the former Labour MP Dennis Skinner.
Does the Prime Minister recall that at the time after he became Prime Minister under the coalition, I asked him a very important question about the windfall he received when he wrote off the mortgage of the premises in Notting Hill? Maybe Dodgy Dave will answer it now. And this man has done more to divide this nation. I still refer to him as Dodgy Dave.
There's a fair few front bench MPs that were glad the day he retired. And I'll try to give you an interesting fact for every town or city that I visit. Fun fact, in 2022, Bolsover unsuccessfully applied for city status. So the idea of this series is pretty much to visit as many locations within the UK. Quite some potential for some long distance trips here, isn't there? And have a look at these towns that have lost their railways, towns or cities. I'm talking about, decent sized centres of population. We'll be having a look at the little bit of history of the towns and the cities, what they're famous for. It's railway history, and obviously looking at what remains, what's left. Now, no doubt some of them I will have visited before, but when I've been doing other videos, Bolsover being one example. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Today I'm going to film on different, separate videos, but it's still good just to bring that together in the context of the town that's no longer got its railways, it's the town that the railways forgot. Right, so let's get on to the history of the railways in Bolsover. 2 railway lines came through Bolsover. We had the Midland Railway, which I'm on at the moment. Then we had the Lancashire-Derbyshire East Coast Railway that ran further up. We'll go and take a look at that in a short while. And Bolsover was pretty late arriving to the railway party. It was 1890 by the time it got its first railway station, which is where we're stood roughly here at the moment. But I'll refer to it as Bolsover Castle Station just to differentiate it from the other station that we'll see in a short while. So this is on the Doe-Lee branch, see the old Midland Railway. We've covered this line in this video, so go and watch this video. 3 years ago, we walked from Staveley, Seymour Junction, through to here. In fact, we've done a lot of sections of this, haven't we, all the way up to Plesley. Still quite a fairly open track, but I'm not sure what the plans are for this, but looks like someone's been clearing this area. Yeah, but this is the site of the station. I believe it was on this side. We can see a raised area there, but that doesn't quite fit with the alignment of the railway line. That bridge has been strengthened, hasn't it, look, recently? I don't remember it being like that the last time we came through here. And there is the station entrance, look. That's where we were stood, just down at the bottom. This little building's always intrigued me. It's not on the railway, but it's right by the entrance to the station, Bolsover Castle Station, right by the station entrance off the road. So it didn't last an awful long time, this railway station. Timetabled passenger trains stopped in 1930, but that wasn't the end of the station. It was still used for charters, for the miners' welfare. Just up there, they ran excursions and other things as well, trips that went from here. I can't remember the details off the top of my head. It was renamed Bolsover Castle Station, and that was in 1950. So that's 20 years after it kind of closed, you could say, closed to passengers. But they renamed it just to differentiate it between the other station, because it was common in those days for towns to have different stations in different locations but have the same name. So we had 2 stations called Bolsover and they weren't even close. So that must have been confusing to rail travellers. I understand it was built in the same kind of design, the same kind of setup, single platform, like the one at Clown, you know, on the Midland Railway. Is it Clown and Balbury? Really not a lot to see, but hey ho, this is the location. This is where it was, Bolsover Castle Station. And I've got in my notes, the last train, the last special to use this station was in 1981. It was a miners' welfare special. And obviously this line did cling on to quite recently. Was it in the 2000s? Because this line was still down. Coal light just in that direction, some collieries, because you can't really move around this region without bumping into some old colliery history or some remains of the railway, etc. So that's what remains anyway, but you can still see on this track bed, it looks like fairly new. It's got a fairly decent ballast covering on this, and it's still quite an open way through it. Like I say, colliery related tramway / railway remains everywhere. There's a abutment at the other side. This was, see it on the old maps, this was a tramway from Bolsover Colliery, just over there. I think, I'm not maps in front of me, but I think that went up into the new estate, you know, like the model villages. Fantastic remains, those. So in the spirit of what remains, that same railway line, just slightly to the south in Bolsover, you can now walk on the Stockley Trail. But now we turn our attention to the other railway line. Now, we've done this video as well. Go and watch this video if you want to know. We looked at what remained of the Dukeries route. And right above where I'm stood here was that other line. This is where the 2 railway lines intersected in Bolsover. That was the Lancashire Derbyshire East Coast Railway, another railway very familiar with. And that was on the line from Chesterfield Marketplace Station through to Lincoln. There's the guarantee now, taking out, there's nothing remain of that viaduct. Still got the embankment through the trees there. That's about it. This side, look at this, it's flattened. It doesn't even exist, the embankment. It would have been somewhere here, wouldn't it? It's kind of green area that's being infilled. Collection of Byron bricks there, if they've been dumped or something. And Byron was the brickworks. It's literally less than half a mile up this railway line. So you've just got to imagine this railway line, quite a bit way up there. There's quite an elevation difference. And we're gonna go closer to the town. There's the castle, look, just peering through the mist. We're gonna go and have a look around, show you the site of where the railway station used to be in Bolsover, and that was Bolsover South, what we refer to that as. I'll tell you a little bit about that before we go up to the station. It was in the Carvale area of Bolsover. It was opened in 1897 by the Lancashire, Derbyshire and East Coast Railway. Now in 1950, like the other one, it was renamed from Bolsover to Bolsover South. But it closed a year later, 1951. Now, it didn't close because they didn't think the railway line was useful anymore. This is what, more than a decade before like the beaching cuts, etc. It was closed because Bolsover Tunnel, just the other side of the station, that was suffering some significant mining collapses, subsidence in the tunnel. It just wasn't economical to repair, so the whole line closed. That's actually going to be the subject of a forthcoming video when me and Bolsover Paul finally get round to filming it. So we're just approaching the station site now. So the railway line was just here, look. The house is now built on it. All right, so we're stood on the track bed now. So the railway has been going straight through that house. Nothing left at Bolsover South Station. Sorry, I should just add. This is where it would have been. Just to the right hand side here. It's now new build estate all over the station site. So there's that photo of the station master's house. That's on Wikipedia. That's built in the same design the station house business centre in Clown, isn't it? And we did have on this side a series of sidings, and there was a jam factory. Isn't that quaint? And that had a railway siding running into that jam factory. Now, one more thing just to tell you about Bolsover South. It's one of only 2 locations on the LDECR that had a level crossing. And this is the location, just sweeping across this road here. Does anyone know where the other level crossing was? Answers in the comments. I'll tell you at the end of this video. We've got this memorial just by the old level crossing there. Quite a harrowing tale. I hope you've enjoyed that first episode of this. Going to be an ongoing series, isn't it? Lots of episodes to this. There's a lot of towns and cities to visit that have lost their railways like Bolsover, and it's clear to see that Bolsover have done a pretty good job at erasing anything to do with those stations. I don't know where I'll be on the next episode, so keep an eye out for that. So as always, cheers to all channel members. Anyone who buys me a coffee sends me a super thanks. From Bolsover, ta-ra!